Diane and Denmark here, rah rah rah. I hope you're fine and well. Checking with you today because on Friday the 1st of May, my friend Steph, the Secret Slob and I, we checked in with you and we launched our little challenge for the month of May, which is making the most of May. Now, we had a huge response to it, and thank you to everybody who came up with the 3 goals. We actually set 3 goals for the month. Let me just put down my pom-poms. And we asked you for, set yourself 3 goals for the month. And if you haven't already done it, you can go and look at the comments if you need some inspiration. But I want to check in with you today because I've already started with mine. I've been out in the garden. I was going to be dusting off my blog and adding some new stuff to it. And I'm enjoying the season. I've already started thinking about seasonal food that we're going to be eating. I've got my white jeans on this morning, even though it's still quite chilly outside here in Denmark. But I wanted to check in with you today because often, like in the beginning of the year, where we've been through this before, everybody's got these New Year's resolutions or goals, and I told you that it's great having the goal. We've got to write it down, but as your online mentor, I'm going to be here to hold your hand through the month of May and show you how you can take that goal what you actually need to do so that you can follow through with it and actually achieve something by the end of the month. So just a few quick tips. If you want to grab a pencil and paper, that's great. If you want to fold laundry, that's great. If you want to just sit with your feet up, that's great. And also, I'm going to need your help with something, so don't let me forget about that. So anyway, let me just sit down and I'll give you a few wee tips to really make these goals happen. If you haven't already set your goal, you've got to start there first. You've got to actually think about what it is you want to do for the month. You don't need to be doing 3, 1 will do, and if you need inspiration, as I said, Friday's video, there were hundreds of comments there. So you've got your goal in mind. What are you going to do? You've got to write it down. You may have written it down on Friday's video, but I want you to write it down, and that could be piece of paper, on an app. We're all different about what we like to use. I'm a mixture of old school and apps. I use Google Keep for all my lists, my errand day list and my daily to-do lists. That's where I keep mine. So you're going to write it down somewhere. Piece of paper, app, whatever you like. The next thing is you're going to make it part of your routine. How many times have you heard that before? Just by having it, just having the idea isn't enough. We actually need to say, when is this going to be happening? When am I going to make it happen? So that could be part, of course it will depend on your goal, but it could be something that you put on your morning routine. It could be something that you put in your evening routine. It could be something that's happening on a weekly basis. You'll need to decide when to put it into your routine. But the main thing is that it goes into a routine somewhere, if possible, adding on to something that you're already doing. We've talked about this before, that very thing of like in the morning, before you have your breakfast, you walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes before you get your cup of coffee. That'll give you, it's like the carrot and the stick thing. Or maybe you say, okay, after I have had breakfast in the morning and cleared away breakfast dishes, I get my Wellington boots on and I head out into the garden. We've got to think about when it's going to fit into a routine and add it physically, write it down and add it to, as I said, your daily routine or your weekly routine. And you can use all different kinds of reminders because maybe you have it written down on a list. I told you yesterday I've made up these little cheat sheets for me to add to my cleaning caddy. I've got my list of weekly home blessinger, and I can just cross something off the list. If you've got your list of your routine, you can go and say, oh yeah, supposed to be doing yoga this morning, and we can actually get it checked off. And I would just also say here, make sure that you're keeping things, keep it simple, sweetie. We're not planning to go out into the garden for 10 hours every day. Set a timer and say, you know what, I'm going to do 15 minutes And if I do more than that, that's a bonus, but just keep it very, very small and simple, because what will happen, and I know this will happen, and put your hands up here if it's also happened to you, you have these ideas, I'm going to do 3 hours of yoga, and I'm going to bake all the cakes and make, sew 10 different dresses and knit 10 different hats. But when we make it too big, we think, oh, well, I don't really have time to do that today, and then it doesn't happen. We've got to cook it right down and say, no, I'll work for it. I'll work on it for 15 minutes. So go ahead and add it to your daily routine or your weekly routine. Get it written down in there. And the last thing is, so you're going to write it down, you're going to add it to a routine, and then the last thing is you're going to set yourself up for it. So what do I mean by setting up? I just mean kind of clearing the path so there are no obstacles in your way. And that could be like, say for example, you want to do some morning yoga, something like that. You may have that idea, and then you go to bed, and then the next morning you're like, oh, I can't really be bothered. You've got to set yourself up for it the night before, like we do with looking at our outfit for the next day. Perhaps put a little basket beside your bed, and in there you can put your yoga pants or your water bottle, yoga mat, whatever it is, setting yourself up for it. Maybe your idea this month is to get sewing. Have you got an area where you, for example, in a guest bedroom or in your basement, where you can clear off a table, put the sewing machine there and set up a little area for yourself? We're setting ourselves up for it. And that also includes things like, planning ahead. What do you need for your project? For example, I've mentioned that in the garden, we want to clean off our deck and re-oil it. Well, that's a great idea, and I will add it to my daily routine. I'm out in the garden, but I also need to get the oil for re-oiling it. So that needs to go onto my errand list. So we need to set ourselves up for whatever it is we're trying to achieve. So you're going to write it down, whatever your goal is, you're going to add it to your routine, and you're going to clear the way to make it happen for you, whether that is, looking at outfit the night before, or seeing what you need to borrow or buy or get set up. I just want to say to you, be careful about this thing of perfectionism for the month of May. You may have all these ideas, but remember, things are pretty crazy right now. We're all, it's psychologically tiring to be on lockdown. Most of us, I think, are still on lockdown. It's psychologically tiring, so it's great to have these goals that we're working towards, but that we're not putting on extra pressure. Okay, this is meant to be something fun that we can do together and to lift our spirits. It's not intended to make you feel bad, or if you're not getting these things done. We've got to really lift the pressure off ourselves, and the whole point of this is just enjoying the process, enjoying the month, not putting extra pressure on. One of my goals for this month is being a bit more creative, and enjoying the creative side of things. I've been dusting off my old blog and adding new stuff to it. And when I looked at my old blog, a lot of the old stuff that had the links are broken. I used to blog for the Danish Foreign Ministry. There was on the website of Denmark, there was a blog section. I was one of the bloggers there. And then a few years back, they closed down that section, and all of my pictures went in a puff of smoke. And I could think, oh, well, the links are broken. I'm not worrying about that. I'm enjoying at the moment just being creative again and adding random things in there. So this whole month is just about enjoying it. The cake might not turn out the way you wanted to. You may not finish sewing the dress or knitting the cardigan that you're thinking about. You may not end up doing 5 days of yoga every week, but it's just having the idea and enjoying with it and running with it. Okay, so not getting perfectionist about it. And the other thing, I wanted to ask you for some help, because I told you that because I've dusted off my old blog, and I've started adding in stuff in there, and I thought it'd be a good place to put my zone ideas for the month. I've told you that the Flylady system, I don't just use it for, you know, cleaning the house, weekly home blessing hour. I also do my self-preservation, as I like to call it, pampering by zone, gardening by zone, and I've shared my ideas about that before. We've gone through my house management binder control journal, things that I do by zone. So if you've got any ideas for this week's zone, where we're in zone 2 this week, kitchen, if you've got any good pamper ideas, self-preservation ideas for zone 2, or any gardening ideas for zone 2, let me know, and I'll add them to a little list that I'm putting together, and that will I'll share that with you sometime this week. So on that note, I am off to look at what I need to get done on my daily routine. So anyway, remember, what is your goal? Write it down, add it to your routine, and get yourself set up, okay? And you may want this month to invest in a wee pair of pom-poms, because there's nothing better than giving yourself a little rah. So anyway, rah, and all I've got left to say is live long and prosper. May the Danish hug be with you. Sun's coming back, and I shall see you very soon. Okay, bye for now.